Meet John, a respected school teacher, a beloved community member, and a criminal. John was a pillar of his community, a man who taught second-grade children during the day and volunteered at the local food bank on weekends. He was someone you'd never suspect of any wrongdoing. He was the man you'd trust your children with, the person you'd ask for help when you needed a hand. But beneath the veneer of respectability, John harbored a dark secret. John was a thief, but he wasn't just any thief. He was a thief who used his position of trust to steal from those who trusted him the most, his students and their parents. John had been embezzling funds from the school where he worked for over 5 years. He had a sophisticated scheme in place, siphoning off small amounts of money from the school's budget and funneling it into his own private account. His criminal activities remained undetected for years. He was careful, meticulous, and always one step ahead of any suspicion. He used his reputation as a shield, knowing that no one would dare to question him. And for a long time, no one did. The truth came to light when an external audit was carried out on the school's finances. The auditors found discrepancies that they couldn't ignore. A deeper investigation revealed the shocking truth. The beloved school teacher, the man who was entrusted with the education of young children, was stealing from them. The news of John's arrest sent shockwaves through the community. People were stunned, unable to comprehend how the man they had respected and admired could commit such a crime. Parents were outraged, feeling betrayed by someone they had trusted with their children. The students, too young to understand the full implications of their teacher's actions, were confused and saddened. John's trial was a media sensation. Every detail of his crime was dissected and analyzed, adding to the community's sense of betrayal. The court's verdict was unanimous. John was found guilty of embezzlement. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison, a harsh punishment that reflected the severity of his crime and the breach of trust he had committed. But the real punishment for John was not the prison sentence. It was the loss of respect, the shattered reputation, and the scorn of the community he had once been a part of. His name became synonymous with betrayal, a stark reminder of the potential darkness lurking beneath the surface of even the most respected individuals. John's case is a stark reminder that criminals don't always look like what we expect. Now let's talk about Mary, a successful businesswoman, a role model, and a convicted felon. Mary was a shining example of success in her community. She was the CEO of a thriving tech company, a generous benefactor to local charities, and a mentor to many aspiring young professionals. She was admired by her peers, loved by her family, and respected by her employees. Her success story was an inspiration for many, and her name was synonymous with integrity and hard work. But beneath this polished exterior, Mary was involved in a sinister world of white-collar crime. Unbeknownst to many, she was orchestrating a complex web of financial fraud that would eventually lead to her downfall. For years, Mary had been siphoning off vast amounts of the company's funds for her personal gain. She manipulated financial statements, forged documents, and used her position of power to cover up her illicit activities. All the while, she maintained her pristine image in the public eye, fooling everyone around her. The extent of her criminal activities was staggering. She successfully embezzled millions of dollars from her own company, driving it to the brink of bankruptcy. Her actions not only jeopardized the livelihood of her employees, but also shattered the trust of her investors and stakeholders. The fallout from her conviction was enormous. Her once thriving business was left in ruins, and the shockwaves of her actions were felt throughout the industry. The community that once admired her was left reeling, struggling to reconcile the image of the successful philanthropic businesswoman with that of a convicted felon. Mary's story serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the devastating consequences of white-collar crime. Her actions tarnished her reputation, destroyed her career, and caused significant harm to those who trusted her. But perhaps the most tragic part of Mary's story is the betrayal felt by those closest to her. Her family, friends, and employees were left to grapple with the harsh reality that the person they admired and trusted was capable of such deceit. Mary's case also highlights the fact that criminals don't always fit the stereotypical image we may have in mind. They don't always lurk in the shadows or hail from the fringes of society. Sometimes they are right in front of us, hiding behind a facade of respectability and success. In the end, Mary paid a heavy price for her actions. She was sentenced to several years in prison and ordered to pay back the money she embezzled. But the damage she caused went far beyond financial loss. The trust she betrayed and the lives she impacted can never be fully quantified. Mary's case shows a clean-cut image can hide a criminal intent. Finally, consider the case of Tim, a loving father, a caring husband, and a secret criminal. Tim was your typical suburban dad, always the first to volunteer for a school event, a steady job in the tech industry, and a life that seemed to be the epitome of the American dream. Yet, behind this facade of normalcy, Tim was leading a life that would shatter this idyllic image. Tim was involved in cybercrime, a world far removed from his everyday persona of a suburban family man. By day, he was a respected IT professional, a job that provided him with the skill set to delve into the dark underbelly of the internet. By night, he was a different person, engaging in activities that ranged from hacking into secure networks to stealing sensitive data. His secret life was a stark contrast to the smiling, affable man his family and friends knew. The duality of Tim's life was not just a case of dual personalities. It was a calculated, conscious effort to keep his illicit activities separate from his everyday life. He operated under multiple aliases, ensuring that his real identity was never linked to his criminal activities. This double life was a complex web of deceit that Tim had been spinning for years. However, like all secrets, Tim's too came to light. His arrest sent shockwaves through his community. The unassuming family man they thought they knew was unmasked as a criminal. The impact on his family was devastating. His wife, who had been completely unaware of Tim's secret life, was left to pick up the pieces. His children had to cope with the reality that their father, their hero, was a criminal. The fallout was not just emotional, but also financial. The family's assets were seized as part of the investigation, leaving them in a precarious situation. While Tim was serving his sentence, his family was left to deal with the aftermath of his actions. As we delve into the details of Tim's life, it becomes evident that his story is not just about a man leading a double life. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of cybercrime and the devastating impact it can have on innocent lives. It's a stark reminder that criminals don't always fit the stereotypical image we have in our minds. They can be the person next door, the friendly colleague, or in this case, a loving father and husband. Tim's story is a grim reminder that criminals can be hiding in plain sight. It's a wake-up call for us all to be more vigilant, to question the things that seem too good to be true, and to remember that appearances can often be deceiving. In the end, it's a lesson in the human capacity for duplicity and the harsh reality that even those closest to us can harbor dark secrets.